Hey, good morning, and thanks for coming back to the channel. This is my first installment, second installment, hopefully heading for the next 10,000. I don't know if I can make it that long. It took me 10 years to get 10,000 this time. I mean, who knows? See, 10 years, oh my God. I'm going to try though. That's another 10 years I got on this rock, and I'm going to see how many more I can put out. I got 500 videos, so that'll make it 1,000 videos, man. Holy crap. But here's my thoughts. Here's my thought for this morning. This is Sunday, January 9th, by the way. Uh, Let me clear up a couple things, and it has to do with obviously the Second Amendment and some of the the overall feel for where we are with that. First, um, there are still anti-self-defense, anti-gun, anti-armed citizen groups that want to continue to put forth uh, the thinking that the Second Amendment only applies to individuals who are part of a militia. There's still that out there. And I'm talking about professors in law schools around the country and so forth. The fact is, the Supreme Court, in four decisions, four recent ones, including Heller, which was the first one, and Heller, Caetano, um, Bruin, and then there's one more. But there is no disagreement. It's 8-1, basically, on the Supreme Court that they all agree that the Second Amendment is an individual right. Well, once you put that building block in, then all other anti individual, anti citizen gun laws start to fall. Now, the Giffords Center, their database place, is saying that 95% of all the criminal cases involving the Second Amendment are being won by the anti-gun people. Well, if you talk to the Firearms Policy Coalition and Gun Owners of America and all the other pro Second Amendment groups, you don't get that feeling, right? And when we see those cases falling the way they are, the anti-citizen being armed in public movement is in big trouble. So what does that really mean? Well, that means that we still need to be vigilant. We do have the right, and we will end up removing those gun laws around the country that prevent us from being armed in public. And I say armed in public because that's what it really means. A gun is just one type of arm. So we need to start thinking that way. Being armed in public, whether it's a blade, whatever it is. If you want to carry a katana like I do, then fine. Looks a little weird, but it's your right to do it. So we will start to see that. Why is that? We'll start to see that more. The states that don't want that are desperately trying to do crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. The big one, by the way, is to make as many places, sensitive places, or places where you cannot carry, so that it ends up not being worth it. It ends up just, have the gun in your house and don't go outside. Once those are done, the cops in those places, and I'm talking to you law enforcement officers, whether you're sheriff or local, you're going to be pissed because right now you think that the only people that have guns or supposed to have guns are you and criminals. And you don't like the idea. You don't like the idea. And I'm talking about you people that are in those anti-armed citizen in public places, mostly California, Hawaii, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, right? You're not going to be able to stand in front of that. So you need to get your head around it, and you need to start having training with your command officers on what do you do like where I live. How do you behave as a law enforcement person when you know that almost everybody you're going to come in contact with is probably carrying a concealed weapon of some type, even though they're not really breaking the law? It also means that you can't just stop somebody because you think they're armed. Those Terry stops that everybody got used to, that's not going to happen anymore because you're doing it right. Red flag laws, dead in the water. They're going to be dead. So what? At the end of the day, picture what that looks like. Picture what that looks like. Well, if you're in those liberal, soft on crime areas, those bad guys are going, and I've said this a lot, citizens are going to start killing criminals on the street or in their homes. And that's starting to happen, but you're going to see it more, right? Some criminals are going to think that if they're only armed, then they can go and intimidate citizens. To you, would-be thugs out there, just understand there's more of us than there are of you. Understand that. And to you mamas and baby mamas and grandmamas and pastors of churches and crap like that who worry about those poor souls, by the way, they're not children. If you are a 14-year-old human anywhere in this country, in any one of those gang-infested, crime-infested places, and you think that you're going to be able to go out and do bad things because you're young, all that's going to do is get you killed young. So for all you parents out there, all you people that are relatives of these people, you know who they are. You know who they are. If you care about them, and you have any kind of influence and control, you'll start to say, baby, yeah, you need to stop doing that because you're going to end up dead, which is true. That's what's going to end up happening. You're going to end up with criminals in the act of doing what they're doing, not coming back. That's going to have a hugely positive impact on the violent crime rate. Now, law enforcement, there's some prosecutors out there around the country, these same very loose prosecutors, loose on crime, that kind of thing. Those prosecutors are going to be pissed. And they're just waiting. They're just waiting to arrest anyone who uses a weapon, in this case I'll call it a gun, to kill anyone, even if you're being threatened in public. So that's going to happen in those jurisdictions. What I would suggest to you, if you do not already have it, is to get self-defense insurance. And there's several companies out there where you can get that. I think it's going to be more and more important because these prosecutors in some of those jurisdictions are going to go more and more hard against people using force, deadly force, to defend themselves. I use USCCA. There's some that don't like USCCA. I've looked at those reasons, and I will continue to use USCCA. There are others that are competitors that are good. I can't make the comparison between them. You do that on your own, right? So that's where I think we're going with this. We are winning. It's not going to be such a long slog that we think it is. There's going to be violent legal action from these states against us in the Second Amendment community. There's not going to be anything federal happen. So it's going to be state by state. Film at 11. We'll keep you. There are the 2A channels that, every 5 seconds they're saying flash, news flash, latest thing. And all I'm saying is we're winning. The data says we're winning. It's going to take a while. Remember, we're still waiting for St. Benitez in the Ninth Circuit in California to come with his 3 rulings. Assault weapons ban, magazine ban, and there's one other. I forget. It's a blade thing. And he hasn't dropped his yet. And when that happens, that's going to be a sea change out there on the West Coast. We're winning. Hang in there. Keep writing, calling your elected officials, even those that are blue. Because the more you express yourself, the more it matters. Where you can, and this is, I'm going to finish. Wherever you can, whenever you can, however you can, carry on.